Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and thank you for stopping by once again. I was a little slow in getting this one out because I had to check something out before I spoke to you. That's been done as much as I can, so I'm going to be ending with that. First, a quick summary of things here regarding our opening of the country. The airport's going on just fine. We've had a few people who've tested positive. They are in quarantine. The government here, Panama, pays for the hotel room and the meals, which I think is pretty generous. Not many groups do that. But I haven't heard an actual statistic recently, but what I've heard prior to this indicates not many have come in that shape, so thank God for that. But in any event, the airport itself is operating well, and we've had, in an 8-day period, we had 54,000 people go through the airport, which is substantially more than a month ago, to put it gently. However, about 2/3 of those are hub people coming on their way to a place and or from a place. And the benefit to Panama being a hub, of course, is that it increases greatly the number of flights coming in increases greatly the number of destinations as well. So this makes it a lot easier for people to get a direct flight to Panama or back home from Panama should they need it. And it's also why we had over 90 destinations here, and when Mexico City had 50, and we have Mexico City's metro area has many times the population of the entire Republic of Panama. So it's not a population thing, it's a matter of being a hub, and we are a hub. So these people are very useful because they bring the flights with them. Now, the other 18,000, there were 11,000 who were coming into Panama in that 8-day period, and 7,000 leaving. That's perfectly normal, sort of 11 to 7. I mean, a ratio isn't particularly unusual. We're always nice to know more people are coming than leaving. But the point is that it's, although more normal, the key point here is that this is, for us, just the beginning. We've gone from hundreds to thousands. We'll get to tens of thousands, we hope, back to closer to normal over time. In November, we'll see new flights and new destinations being added to the list. But all of this depends on really one thing. And as I've mentioned before, we look at the European situation. We're looking at actually the majority of states in the U.S., and we're seeing second wave, third wave, surge, whatever term anyone uses these days, you let us know, in COVID cases. And it's serious. It's not a good thing at all. The number of people dying doesn't seem to be as sharply rising, but that's to be expected after all the experience we have now. But the actual infection rate is very high, and the longer-term effects of COVID are now becoming more and more apparent. So all I can say is that we're on the road to great improvement, getting back closer to something normal. But we are as dependent on you as you are on us to see to it that you can come here safely, and for your benefit and for ours as well. So let's hope. Now, otherwise, the country is definitely opening up. We've opened up just about everything. I think everything now. The beaches are now open. There are limitations and restrictions. I think in the beaches you can have a bubble of 7 in one party before you have to have a strong separation, probably a couple meters at least, maybe more. I don't know on the beach, but it was substantial. And the restaurants and what have you, bars, others, they've got all the regulations set up. We're and they're open. And I took advantage of it this morning and went out to a local establishment, and they were very well set up for it. And I thought it went very well. And they had a goodly number of people there. Now, the authorities are going around right now, and they are checking out restaurants. And when they find what they see to be someone who's just ignoring the rules and just trying to go back to how they were operating 6 or 7 or 8 months ago, they intervene. And they stop it, and they'll give them 15 days to shape up, or they're in major league trouble. But they find them, and we'll hear more details about it in the next few days, but they will give them very stiff fines. Now, these are not mom-and-pop restaurants, folks. These are restaurants of some substance that have relatively high prices. They are owned by well-educated and well-informed people that are often multiple restaurants in like a chain, or if not a chain, at least a series of 3 or 4 in the country and what have you. But they have no excuse, is what it boils down to. And if they feel that the law isn't meant for them, or the rules are not meant for them, they are sharply reminded that they're meant for them too. This is not aimed at trying to hurt some little, what we call fonda, a small local restaurant. Although they have to abide by it too, and they do. I mean, I am just always surprised at how well people follow the regulations here. Not because they like them, but because they recognize we're a society. We move as a group. So that is happening, and that's good. So more openness, the better. And we want it to be open as much as it possibly and safely can for you when you come. Now, the reason that I was somewhat delayed this time, I'm going to go into this fairly quickly. Visas in this country. In the 16 years that I've been here, I've seen visas come and visas go, and I've seen them be redefined and the requirements raised, requirements lowered, and all sorts of things go on. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's been always lots and lots of rumors. One of the that's most common to have rumors is the Friendly Nations visa, which is one of the 2 most popular, along with the retirement visa. Now, since its initiation, there have been rumors. There have been people who wanted to change it, wanted to turn it around and do something different with it, and what have you. And none of them have come to fruition. It's one of these, if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of situations. However, in this particular instance, I started hearing that there were going to be some significant changes. What did I know about it? Well, I didn't know. Well, it's a rumor. I don't talk about rumors. If I did that, I'd be talking about them all the time. There was another visa set up, a very small one, nothing significant, and I thought maybe it was a misunderstanding there and so forth. And then I saw what a number of people had seen that led to further messages coming into me. And it appears that a lawyer, he's a respectable man and certainly well thought of, shared a message, apparently informally with his clients, saying that although that was definitely not final decision and it was still being discussed and the details weren't known, he nonetheless felt that there was a very real likelihood that this was going to happen, blah, 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 blah. And basically, if you wanted the Friendly Nations visa, in advance, you'd either have to buy a corporation, which struck me as really bizarre. Why? Or, more likely, buy a residence, or have employment when you come to Panama, which is extremely rare. So we're really talking about something that looked blatantly like an attempt to sell real estate. I understand it. I do understand. That's what we've been talking about here. The need for the industry to get something off the ground, but I don't think this is the way to do it at all. But he put it together in this message and sent it out with these warnings that it wasn't necessarily final. And one of those folks, quite innocently, after all, it's news, put it up in social media, which happened to be a Facebook page with over 5,000 readers. It's for expats in Panama and for others. It's the easiest way you can to get news. This is an expats in Panama thing, and you've got this talking about the Friendly Nations visa going through this dramatic change and everything. Boom, lots of suggestions, lots of comments. In come the emails to me saying, what's going on here? I read this, I go, oh, good Lord. So it has just moved from the rumor stage into the one person says it stage, and yet it's still obviously not settled stage, okay? So I did 2 things. Now, what I would normally do under these circumstances, normally not talk about, but I will tonight. I sit down, I write a message. I send it off to a half a dozen in this case, sometimes a dozen, it depends, people who are concerned in the general area that I'm writing about, whatever the problem area is. As in this case, where I pointed out, I shared what had been put up on the Facebook page. I expressed my disagreement, very powerful and strong terms, which are unlike me. But I couldn't believe it. I said, this is going to be counterproductive. This is the wrong time. It's the wrong idea. But to just criticize is not enough. So when I write in something like that, I also add suggestions of other ways to encourage real estate and so on that don't require fixing something that isn't broken. And I just send it out. Now, I don't say anything other than these are my opinions. These are people I know and I've known for a long time. I just send it to them. It's just a message. I know that if they want, they know. Nobody talks about this sort of thing, but I mean, if they want to share it with other people, they're welcome to it. It's not if it was private and confidential, I would say so. Or if they want to take the ideas themselves and express them themselves, fine, I don't care. I'm just trying to help. That's it, period. My involvement in it is not of any significance whatsoever to me. I just do that. That's what I do. I don't try to get hold of the government officials involved and talk to them. I mean, no, come on. That's not the way we get things done here. So I did that. And then the second thing is I started asking people, does anybody know anything about this? And I haven't been able to get any verification. In fact, in one lawyer's case, he said when he did raise it with people who are very much in immigration law and involved with it and cognizant of what is going on, they had no idea what he was talking about. And okay. I'm going to put it this way. Now, I'm raising this only because the messages came in. Normally, had I not gotten messages from you, I would have just let this one go, whichever way it was going to go. But at this point, because I cannot say I have evidence that this is not true, it's like proving a negative. It's a very difficult thing to prove that something isn't out there. But I have no evidence that it is, and that it's a serious threat in any way. But I do know there are people who were thinking of rushing down here to start the process for the visa for fear that the process was going to disappear and this new requirement would be made at the beginning of November. If that's the case, I mean, it's going to be a real shocker because that's not the way normally things are done here. They're done by consensus, and they bring in people, and this is big. And so all I can tell you is this, is that I can't guarantee anything, but I'm not losing any sleep over this one. It may be up there. It may be discussed. I seriously doubt it would be dropped on us at all in a matter of days. Oh, please. Come on. But I can see it coming out there for discussion. Okay, fair enough. Because I know there are people in real estate who would see, as I do, that this is counterproductive and will have reasons to question it. It needs to be discussed, for sure, before anything like this is done. And I have faith, to the extent anyone can have faith in politicians, that, well, not so much them, but in the general bureaucracy and how it deals with these things traditionally in administration, that we're not going to have something just suddenly slammed with it. It's not the attitude that people take toward these programs. So that's why I raise it. I always say to myself, well, watch, tomorrow morning they'll make an announcement. Change in the visa. But I felt I needed to say something because you were starting to write, and I hate to have to constantly write the same message to people. Just show respect to all of you and let you know this is out there, but it's, as I say, I'm not losing any sleep over it at all. And if something does come down the road, I expect it to be far enough down the road so that there's plenty of time to discuss it, encourage changes, or even to stop it. And in Panama, when it comes to visas, if it doesn't occur, this won't be history making. It will be what often happens. But on the other hand, who knows? So I'll leave it at that. not unaware of it, and I am going to be always having an ear and an eye, and I've got other people with ears and eyes open for it too, and maybe we're all missing something big. But until I know that's a fact, I will continue to say exactly what I just said. So, thank you very much for stopping by. Now, I want to get back to talking about living in Panama and the city and anywhere else in the country. And that's going to happen. Thank you for your patience with this, and I hope you have a good day or good night, as the case may be.